I'd like to yield as much time as he may consume.
The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Well, I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I appreciate his kind words. And Madam Speaker, I'm honored to rise today in support of House Resolution 1612, which honors our United States Constitution on September the 17th as Constitution Day. You know, in the not too recent past, too many people in this country, I really don't think, knew what was in this little document. And as the gentleman has just previously said, about 4,400 words. That's all there is, 4,400 words. But I think over the last couple of years, more and more people are turning to it to find out exactly what is in here and what, how this place operates and how this country operates. And I think it's important because I've always been a student of history, and I think it's important that we know where we came from to know where we're going. And I think it's important that folks recognize on September the 17th that they should sit down, just start leafing through it. We give a lot of constitutions. I know on this coming Friday when we are all back in our districts again, I'm going to be back in my district talking to a school, and then from there I'm going to go to a university in my district and talk about the Constitution and what it means to us. But I think it's important that people know what it is because, again, as I said, it's, people have got to understand how we are and why we are the way we are. As the gentleman has said that, this document has been in existence since for 223 years from September the 17th. Just a little bit of background how we got there. James Madison, when he was still in Virginia, he wanted to have, they really understood that the Articles of Confederation weren't working in this country. And there was a dispute that was going on, and they wanted to really get something worked out with Maryland, and they kind of sat down. They came up with an idea of having some kind of a get-together, and they'd be meeting in Philadelphia. And the question really arose at that time, were they going to, just look at the Articles of Confederation and try to amend those, and so that's what a lot of the delegates that attended thought that's what they were doing. Or as Madison thought, well, are we going to really sit down and bring forth a great new document that would get us past that trying time in our country's history and move us forward? And there was great debate because as they assembled in 1787 in May of that year, and the members were coming in, the delegates were coming in from around the country, the 13 states, and then the debate was saying, well, we shouldn't be doing this or we shouldn't be doing that because we're only supposed to be here for the Articles of Confederation. But folks really started sitting down and looking at the issue. And as they were looking at this, more and more people came to the conclusions Madison had, and he had gone there prepared. It was amazing what he had done because he was if you look at his background and what Madison was, but he went there, he'd gone through the ancient charters, going back to Greece, to Rome, going across the world and looking at the best and the best that was there at that time that they could examine. And he brought those things with him, and then the debates began. But the great thing about it was, there were debates and there was the open discussion, but the open discussion was only among the members because during that time they said, we do not want this to get out. So they actually closed the doors, they shut the windows. Now you gotta remember, this is one of the hottest years that they had on record for a summer in Philadelphia. They closed the windows, they posted guards at the door, and they didn't want anybody to know what the discussions were. Everybody was under pretty much an oath of secrecy that they would not go out and discuss what was being said in there at that time. So there's a complete, as we know it today, press blackout. But some of the members got disgruntled. They'd go home. Some of them came back. Some of them never. But some of them just said, "You know what? I'm fed up with this. We shouldn't be doing what we're doing," and they left. But the ones that stuck it out, are the ones that I think that we owe where we are today. And when you start looking at this document, the people that presided over that Constitutional Convention, and with George Washington being the presiding officer, and then also as a deputy from Virginia. But you look at some of the other individuals, the Alexander Hamilton from New York, Benjamin Franklin, Robert Morris, Governor Morris of Pennsylvania. Of course, James Madison, who we all know as the father of our Constitution. But these individuals made sure that they put forth a document that we would have and hold so dear to us today. There were a lot of people at that time from around the world who were still looking at this fledgling country and saying, can it really exist? Can it survive? But this little document, these 4,400 words, showed the world who we were as Americans and what we stood for. Now, there was a lot of conflict. And there were a lot of things that they could not come to a resolution, during that time. Slavery was one of them. But, you know, they hoped at some point in time that the Americans would come to a resolution of that. But as we saw this document progress during that time, and when they finally, on September the 17th, 1787, finally came to the resolution, they signed the document. And it's interesting because, you know, it's reported that when Benjamin Franklin left Constitution Hall, a woman met him outside. And she said, Mr. Franklin, I'm paraphrasing, what have you given us? But he said to her in reply, a republic, if you can keep it. And so for these past 233 years in this country, or excuse me, 223 years, it's been important that every generation read this document to understand who we are and why we want to preserve it. And it's so important, in my opinion, that on September the 17th, this coming week, that we honor the Constitution with Constitution Day. And I would urge everyone to just sit down, pick up their little pocket constitutions, and just read it and thank those individuals who, in my opinion, the good Lord gave us at such a small window of time, but put so many great minds in one room to give this great document. And I yield back. Thank you very much.
The gentleman from Missouri is recognized.